Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Deciding to Soar, Living Life Your Own Way. It's Sharon, and I am so grateful that you are here. I know that there are many places you can be, so I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your support. And I am so grateful that you are here with me today. So, today I want to talk about a topic that has been coming up in various ways during my many conversations with leaders and visionaries and creatives and big hearted people like yourself. And that's the topic of ghost. And when I talk about ghosts, I am not talking about the ghost that we see in movies and cartoons or on TV. I am talking about those invisible beliefs, our burdens, our memories that stem from our past experiences that impact how we are living our lives today. I'm talking about those ghosts that act as distractions and sabotage our success and erode our confidence and shape our identities. I want to talk about those narratives, those stereotypes, those ways that we feel obligated to function in the world that hinder our own growth. And we have to talk about ghosts because they are lingering. And even though they are subtle, they are profound and they have influence and impact in our lives. And the ghosts can show up in many ways. They can be emotional ghosts that manifest as fear, fear of failure, of our sense of self doubt, unresolved grief, rage or anger. It can be spiritual ghosts that show up as feelings of shame and guilt and unworthiness that are rooted in our religious conditioning or our moral frameworks. It can be historical ghosts that we have experienced due to poverty, our slavery, our colonialism, our war that shape our collective identities and to shape our assessments of ourselves and our assessments of our worthiness. Could be also political goals where we have challenges and thoughts around power and dynamics and ideologies that give us a sense of hopelessness or impact our ability to dream or to think outside of our present circumstances. And so I want us to think about how ghosts can show up because today I want to highlight five distinct type of ghosts and to share how those ghosts affect our lives and affect our persistence and our success. But here's the good news. If we can identify how those ghosts may be showing up in our lives, we can challenge them, we can confront them, we can interrogate them in ways that allow us to heal and to grow and to develop and to be who we were caused to be so we don't have to settle for what the ghosts make us think we should be or how the ghost can imprison us to be. So I want us to talk about the ghost. Now, the first ghost I want to highlight is the ghost of the ground. The ghost of the ground. Now, the ghost of the ground are the feelings or the beliefs that we have because we have failed at something. And I even don't like to use the word failure because I believe in life you get the outcome that you want or you get the lesson that you need. But some people define that as failure. And so I want to use that language. And sometimes when we try something and we quote unquote fail, we lose our confidence and we stop trying, we stop dreaming, we stop imagining, we stop taking new risks, we stop trying to learn new things or going to new environments. So I want you to think about the ghost of the ground and identify experiences in your life where you fell down in such a way that it is affecting your ability to get back up and try again. Did you fail at a relationship and you are scared to love again? Did you fail at a job and you're scared to interview again? Did you fail at speaking up and now you are scared to use your voice again? I want you to think about, is there a situation or experience or memory where you fell down? And as a result, now you have stayed down and you are living a life that's beneath your desires. You're living a life that's beneath your potential and your capacity because you're scared to try again. So I want you to think about how that may be showing up in your life, because the ghost of the ground will have us living lives of limitation. We will become prisoners of our past, and we will forfeit opportunities and forfeit the ability to be who we really feel called to be. That's the ghost of the ground. The second ghost I want to highlight is the ghost of glory. The ghost of glory. And the ghost of glory is when we continuously pursue external validation and recognition. It's when we will trade our authenticity for achievements and applause and accolades. And we have all done that in our lives when we try to people please because we want it to be seen and heard and known. And so we push ourselves to burnout trying to maintain this image of success, trying to be noticed, trying to get pats on the back in ways that we ignore our own desires, our own health, and our own values. So I want you to remember that our success should always be aligned based on who we are, based on our own values, based on our own needs, and not some external validations. So I want you to think about the ghost of glory. So you don't sacrifice your own well being and your own individuality and authenticity trying to achieve something that you don't really care about. I think is we have to be very careful that we don't tie our self-worth to professional achievements or professional accolades, because when we do that, we hinge our approval, our self approval, on external approval, our external applause. And then when we do that, we lose our ability to honor ourselves, honor our needs, and honor our own wholeness. So be careful for the ghost of glory. Don't get caught up in trying to get applause at the expense of your own authenticity. The third ghost I have to highlight is this ghost of greed. The ghost of greed. And that is the ghost that drives us to want more, more, more. More money, more power, more resources. And we are never satisfied. Now, I'm all about a bit ambition. I think ambition is good. But I think when our ambition starts to be overrun with greed and this insatiable need to always have more, sometimes we lose ourselves. We lose our values. Sometimes we compromise our peace. We undermine our relationships. So we got to be careful that we are not always going after the sizzle, that we're not always striving for material wealth, that we are not always striving for more power, more privilege, because those things won't lead to emotional or spiritual fulfillment. Really, they are a substitute, which oftentimes leave us feeling empty. I have many wealthy people in my life, and they will tell you that having more stuff doesn't mean that you have more significance. Having more money doesn't mean that you have more fulfillment or more meaning. So I want us to make sure that we are not consumed with with accumulation, that we miss out on our own emotional alignment. So be careful that we don't start to chase things so much that we forget what's really meaningful. That's the ghost of greed. And we got to be careful because we live in a capitalistic culture that always advertises that we should have this, we should have that, we should have more. So be careful with the ghost of greed because it will undermine you and it will rob you of your satisfaction and fulfillment and sense of self. The fourth ghost I have to highlight is the ghost of the group. The ghost of the group. Oftentimes, we don't do what we really want to do and live how we really want to live and say what we really want to say because we are concerned about the ghost of the group. And the ghost of the group is the influence from collective norms, our peer pressure, our societal expectations that make us conform. And we start to erase and edit who we are to make ourselves more desirable to a group. In other words, we try to go along to get along, we try to fit in, and we compromise our individuality and our authenticity because we don't want to be excluded. We don't want to be kicked out. We don't want to be kicked to the proverbial curb. And so we start to dilute ourselves and diminish ourselves to stay in social circles, or we start to make choices so that we can stay in certain environments. We start to succumb to groupthink and we stifle our own creativity and innovation. We start to forfeit our own uniqueness because we start to choose the crowd over our own conscience. So I want you to really think about the ghost of the group and ask yourself, are you compromising in ways that are undermining your confidence? Are you choosing the herd over your own heart? Are you doing what the masses want you to do versus what you feel inspired to do? Because if we conform and if we collude with the group at the expense of our own soul, we will not have satisfaction, we will not have peace, and we will not have joy. So that's the ghost of the group. And I want you to really think about how the ghost of the group and the pressure of the group may be minimizing how you show up in your own life. And then the last ghost I want to highlight is the ghost of gossip. Can I tell you, sometimes people don't do what they really want to do because they are scared of people talking about them. But here's the truth, people are talking about you even if you don't hear it. And you cannot stop people from whispering and murmuring about you. You cannot stop people from creating rumors about you. You cannot do any of that. And so often we are so scared of gossip, of people talking about us behind our backs, that we stop being honest about who we are or what we believe. We start to fear being ostracized and judged and misunderstood and misinterpreted. And we live a very fear based life because other people are controlling us. We become a puppet in our own lives. We become a prisoner to the comments of others. But here's the truth. Someone else's comments cannot impact your calling. So please be aware and identify how the fear or the ghost of gossip may be undermining what you want to say, what you want to do. And remember, you can't stop people from talking about you. And if you can, I guess, adjust or accept that somebody is not going to like you and somebody is not going to say good things about you, and know that it's nothing that you can do about it anyway, you will live from a place of freedom and liberation in ways that will change your life. So that is the ghost of gossip. So there are 5 ghosts that I want us to think about in our own lives: the ghost of the ground, the ghost of glory, the ghost of greed, the ghost of the group, and the ghost of gossip. And if we can recognize these ghosts, we can address these ghosts in ways that allow us to live fuller, more courageous, more meaningful lives. So, how do we do that? One, I want you to identify the ghost. I want you to identify the beliefs, the motivations, the narratives, the stereotypes, any type of circumstance or experience that may be affecting how you move in the world. I want you to recognize them. 2, I want you to identify patterns. The ghosts make us act in ways that hold us back. So think about, how is your fear of failure or the need of approval or your lust for more? How is that affecting you? And how can you trace those ghosts back to their origins so that you can deal with them in different ways and eradicate them once and for all? I want you to reframe the ghosts, meaning I want you to stop seeing those ghosts as obstacles and look at those ghosts as teachers. What can, for example, the ghost of glory teach you about your need for validation? What can the ghost of the ground teach you about your fear of failure? What can the ghost of the group teach you about conformity? I want you to reframe the ghost and think about them not again as obstacles, but as teachers so that you have new lessons that you can leverage in your life. The 4th thing I want you to do is to replace the ghosts with different ones. For example, if the ghost of the ground keeps you stuck, how can you remind yourself that growth is still possible and that your past does not dictate your future? I want you to think about, how can you create new foundations and replace those ghosts with more empowering scenarios and thoughts and beliefs. And then I want you to find some balance, because each ghost has a lesson to offer you. So, for example, how can you find balance between ambition without greed? How can you experience success without the ghost of glory? How can you try something new and without predicting a certain response? How can you deal with elevation without entrapment? I want you to kind of think about, how can you find balance, because you don't have to give up something that you want because of the ghost. You just have to understand that you can integrate your life so that you can live more authentically and more fully. So again, there are many different types of goals, but when we examine them, and they can show up again as memories, beliefs, experiences, narratives, historical trauma. How can we confront these goals so that we can reclaim and regain control of our lives, so we can move with greater confidence, persistence, and purpose, so that we can dare to soar higher than everything we have been taught and told. So thanks so much for listening. I hope that you think about what goals that you are encountering on your life journey. And in the coming weeks, I will be sharing different opportunities that we can work together in a group setting or individually, so we can identify what goals might be undermining you in ways that make you feel impotent, so that you can see and so you can experience your strength and your power and your wisdom in new ways. Again, thanks so much for joining me. Drop me an email at Sharon Jameson at SharonJameson.com. I got that messed up. And let me know your thoughts. And again, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate you spending your energy and your time and your spirit with me. Blessings.